me mateys! Welcome to another video talking about Mover. Yes, welcome back. And welcome to the Dome! So, here you are asking questions. How do I move her? Well, here's the thing. You may have seen that this nice experimental plugin that is currently in progress and therefore not complete has some pretty prevalent and some noticeable things going on, shall we say. Right? Like, as an example, say I were to, I don't know, just hit play here. I have my project set up to introduce 500 milliseconds of lag. So you can really feel it. And when you do that in 5.7 with Mover, and you jump into this little kinematic movement mode, and then you try to move around at all, some horrifying things begin to happen. And you can't really move all that much, and it lags every single time you do anything, and it's very hard to move around and all this kind of stuff. And I'm gonna guess that if you've gone and tried this and experimented with it and had a look at it, you would have noticed this, and you're wondering to yourself, man, that doesn't quite look right. How do I fix that? Well, I am going to say that and more in this video because there are also some problems you may encounter with the physics stuff as well, and I'm going to tell you how to make it so that it doesn't do those kinds of things anymore. It's going to be cool, it's going to be awesome, it's going to be sick. Now, this isn't a tutorial on how to make the best Mover implementation. It is simply how do you set up in 5.7 to make it so that the characters in these test examples or your kind of like immediate derivative functions in a way that you would expect and you would hope. So, let's get into it. Let us start with number one. So, we got Mr. Now, the other thing that may be affecting this as well is the fact that part of it is just my computer's performance, but there is genuine lag as well. Look, the point is, there's lag. You can see the lag. It's pretty prevalent. It's pretty... I don't even remember running there. I don't know what just happened. But it's pretty prevalent. It's pretty prominent. You can see it pretty clearly, right? So, how do we fix this? Now, I don't know where I saw this. So, credit to whoever it may be. Pat yourself on the back. Good job. But somebody had pointed out that for this one, the problem that you're actually having is overcorrection, which is occurring due to a setting in the network prediction plugin. So, let us fix that. We go into the project settings. We go network prediction. And we see this little setting right here. Again, I don't know where I saw it. Big credit to whoever it was. I'm sorry, I can't remember exactly. But they had mentioned that 60... You would think 60, right? That makes sense. That's like a FPS that's like average amount of frames that you would get, right? 60 makes sense. Currently, 60 ticks is way too much, way too high. It causes overcorrections. And they had said, you just pop this down to 30, right? And you're like, nah, that can't be all it is, right? Well, see for yourself if my computer will run it. All right, hold on. Let me go into silent mode, crank up my computer's performance, and then show it off. Here we go. And there we go. There you go. Now it actually runs at a reasonable thing. It doesn't like grab you and pull you everywhere and overcorrect you and all that kind of stuff. So essentially what it is because of the frame rate of 60 ticks per second, I think is what it's actually doing. It ends up overcorrecting the player and making it so it's really laggy. So you just pop that down a little bit and it's like, cool, this is chill. Yeah? Just cut it in half. Now, I don't know what that does to when it wants to actually correct things and stuff like that. I haven't tested. But at least now, you can actually test the clients and such inside of the test level and all those goodly woodlies and stuff like that, right? So there is part 1. Alright? Now, for part 2. Here we are in the physics level. Yay! Because, guess what? We're going to talk about physics as well. Now, there was an issue that I ran into, right? Because I'm testing with lag, and I wanted to see what happens when it lags. And, geez, you'll just see. You'll just see. Just give it a moment. Just give it a moment, right? So if we hit play here, it's probably not going to run very fast. It certainly isn't going to run very fast. Back to silent mode. All right, here it is. Watch this. And there is the example that we have, right? Big problem. Because as you can see, I was so inconsistent with my movements. And I was like, hey, what's going on here, guys? Turns out, right, you think, oh, maybe it's the same thing. But it's not the same thing. I already got the settings set, so it can't be the same thing, all right? Okay. It's actually something else. Now, what is that thing? Well, the thing it is if you go into the settings, alright, so edit project settings, and you go down to this, right here, max supported latency prediction. Now, this tells you exactly why it's causing all these problems. Because in the physics prediction, it actually has a limit to the amount of latency it will allow that prediction to occur from. Right? It's like, oh, okay, that makes sense and stuff like that, but it's 1,000. Why would it be a problem at 1,000? Because I have mine at 500 milliseconds of lag. Wow. If you hover over it, it actually explains amount of round trip time. The setting that I set was 500 milliseconds of lag, but that's only one way, which means when it goes both ways, it hits that 1,000 milliseconds and it causes problems. So, to make it so that it runs smoother, just have to up that one. Yeah, there we go. Just have to up that one to 1,500. And then we're about to go silent mode again. We'll see though. Ready? Watch this. It's all fixed. Ta-da! How cool is that? It magically working again. Or working. It worked for the first time. I didn't get it working before. I don't know. I didn't think about that. But it's working. So that's cool. It's awesome. Testing all that. Yeah. But hold on. You may have noticed in that clip, if you're looking on the window to the right, how the fellow client did not look right. They were straight up teleporting, and it did not look smooth at all. I could go silent mode again and show you. But essentially, our next problem is that when other clients see the client doing the client thing, it doesn't really work that well. Now, the reason for this, the problem is because of the physics prediction mode, right? Now, to show the resolution for this, right? So, again, if you were the key device, you would have seen that the other client would see all like the lag and jumping around and all that kind of stuff, right? Now, the solution to this, I would not recommend implementing into your plugin, because if you change the code in the plugin, the examples, content, and stuff like that, you can make it work, but you're actually changing the plugin for every consecutive project, which you might want if you want it to work better. But if they update the plugin and all that stuff, yours might be like partly messed up or something. I don't know. Point is that this is a resolution that I would probably recommend putting into your own implementation of the physics character, which is something that I am doing. So, allow me to show you in my own project what the resolution to that is. Now, it's not perfect, right? Still has some little bits and bobs here, but it makes it so that, because the other thing you're going to consider is at 500 milliseconds of lag, you are lagging. It's bad. So sometimes it's not going to look the smoothest, and that's okay. But all the time, where it's like another client watching you, just teleport everywhere, not ideal. The server is fine. You couldn't see that really. That screen wasn't very visible, but that's fine. It sees things properly. But the other clients, not so much. So how do we solve that? Let's get into it. So here, we have my custom implementation of the mover, chaos, all that good stuff, right? And here is where the problem comes in, right? If you click on the actor itself, you can see the physics replication mode. Now, what you would need to do for the implementation is set the physics replication mode to resimulation on the players, right? If it's a player, set it to that. So, that's, because it says for predictive replication by simulating physics and correcting errors through resimulating physics, correct state of the path. So this one says set on actors with a local role of autonomous proxy. Can be used for both autonomous proxy and simulated proxy, though not recommended for simulated proxy due to CPU performance. Now the other thing is what it actually looks like for a simulated proxy inside a chaos mover. It doesn't like it a whole lot, right? So this is necessary when you have a client that's trying to author movement on a physics-based actor. You need to have this, but if it's the setting on a simulated proxy, it seems to do all that weird teleporting stuff. So my resolution is right here. So you grab the local role of the actor, and if it's a simulated proxy, set it to predictive interpolation instead, which is one of the alternatives here, where it says performing velocity interpolation recommended set on actors with the local role simulated proxy. So that's exactly what it would be, because it's a simulated proxy. So you set it to the setting of the simulated proxy, right? And now you're wondering, well, what does that look like? Well, let me show you. In another silent section, I like to call I Fix the Problem. Here we go. And there you go, ladies and gentlemen. We now have a generally good looking solution for somebody who is playing from the other side of the world, right? That's pretty cool. And you had to change a couple settings to make it look the way that it should have looked. But, it's working and you get to see what it looks like. So, that's pretty cool. I just, figured all this stuff out and, So, it's whatever. I don't know. Anyway, if you guys did enjoy the video, please do leave a like and subscribe for some more content. I'm actually seeing quite a few people talking about Mover. They want documentation for Mover, so that does kind of encourage me and direct me into kind of doing more research, getting more practice, and just kind of discussing these kind of things. Because one of the things I did also see online was somebody saying how when you introduce any kind of lag, the clients and stuff like that, it becomes really laggy to move things around. And it's true, but that's because the settings are a little bit, the default settings, that is. So you just give them a little bit of an update, change them to something that's a little more comfortable functioning and stuff like that, and you can get some results that you're looking for. So, yeah. Leave a like, subscribe, and I think I'm gonna head out into the abyss. I'll get you later. Oh.